Hey, Dr. Clark here. Welcome back to Financial Mathematics, Section 1.1, Savings, Fundamentals of Interest. Let's jump into it. So the main ideas for this section are, first, what is a CD? Second, the differences between compound and simple interest. And then the effective rate of interest. Okay, so first, CDs and interest. So a CD, that's a type of savings account that pre-specifies the length of time that a deposit will be held by the bank with a pre-specified, usually unchanging interest rate, and then penalties are often incurred if money is withdrawn or taken out sooner. So you typically would get a 6-month CD for a given amount of interest, say 2%. And maybe you buy one for $5,000, and then after 6 months, you get 2% interest on that $5,000, in addition to the principal back. The principal is what you would call the initial deposit. Interest is how much money the bank is willing to pay you for giving them your money. So with a CD, there's a fixed term, 6 months or 2 years or whatever, and then they hold on to that money that whole time. And we usually talk about interest as a percentage, so 2%, but 2% would be also written as 0.02, so that's another thing that you want to keep in mind, that we'll sometimes use a decimal representation. Okay, now there's two different types of interest, compound interest and simple interest. Compound interest is the one that will be the main focus of this class, and that's when the amount of interest that's paid grows over time, reflecting the fact that the interest paid at the end of each period is reinvested into the account. So you're going to get interest on the interest. So after 1 year, you get paid the interest, then your principal increases and the further interest applies to that interest. And then you can compound it yearly, monthly, daily, semi-annually, whatever. There's different periods of compounding, but the idea is that after each compounding, the interest is added to the principal, and then you get interest on that. With simple interest, the idea would be you would not get interest on the interest. So if you had a balance in there and you got simple interest, they would pay you out the interest and it wouldn't go back into the account. So the account balance would essentially stay the same, and then the interest payments would just come out from there. Again, for this class, compound interest is the main thing. And then the last one is the effective rate of interest. So for notation, we usually use K as the initial balance, I as the interest rate, and that would be as a decimal. So 0.2. So if it was 2% interest, I would in that case be 0.02. T is time, and then A of T is the account balance at time T. Now, the effective rate of interest, often denoted by I, is the number which, when multiplied by the beginning balance, yields the dollar amount of interest earned at the end of the first period. So the value of I is typically reported as a decimal. Okay, so, and this is just some mathematics to pay attention to. So if I is the interest rate, so say 2%, 0.02, K is your balance, then after 1 period, you'd have the initial balance K, and then you'd have K times I. So the effective rate of interest is always the per period amount of interest that you get. Okay, so that means you can factor out the K, and then you get K 1 plus I. So this is going to be a key idea in this class, the 1 plus I multiplied by the balance. That's your new account balance. Okay, and now after T periods, if it's compounded, then you'd have K 1 plus I to the T, because you'd have K 1 plus I for the first year, then you could take 1 plus I times that, then you could take 1 plus I times that, and each time you do a 1 plus I multiplied, well, the exponent T tells you how many times to multiply by that. All right, so those are the main ideas, and I think you should be able to jump right in for this to the exploration. In this case, hopefully you're mainly familiar with some of those ideas already. And we'll see you next time.